Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm so happy to have you. So my pleading subscribers, welcome back to the channel. So if you want to help out this channel grow, you can do so by liking, commenting, subscribing, hitting the bell icon, or even engaging with the content. It really helped out the channel a lot and really greatly appreciate it if you do. Now, the purpose of today's video is we're going to talk about a whole bunch of different things, but it has to do with former Vice President Harris. And you guys have not heard the news that just broke on the news outlets, or it might just be censored. We don't know exactly how this is playing out. But one thing for certain is that the information inside the Democratic camp in 2024 is very astounding. Remember, we talked about many times before on this YouTube channel where we kept seeing information of Democrats debating whether or not they should do a recount or whether or not they're going to do it, the information there. Well, now we just got intel on why and what happened within the Democratic Party during the time in which Harris became the presidential nominee, and leading up to the general election and what happened afterwards. So we have all the information today. Real facts, by the way, this is real facts. This is written in a memoir. We're talking about that in today's video. I then want to delve into Harris to find out who screwed her over, who told her what, and to really find out what exactly happened. The cards, the book says something, but what do the cards say? Do the cards agree? Do the cards disagree? And we will be talking about this many times on the channel as we start to move forward, because I do have some old footage that I created, I think, in 2022 and 2021, and maybe 2020 as well. I talked about the information that Harris gave me prior to her becoming the presidential nominee, and that she was going to lose the general election. I myself, when I made the call, I actually forgot that footage and data existed. Although I do believe internally, and based on the cards what I'm getting, that she did indeed win the election. However, she was not meant to become president in 2024 due to the hardship the nation was going to face. And if you want to get rid of 45, you have to have the nation go through hardship, and that's exactly where we are right now. Now let's take a look. We're going to find out everything that we need to know in this video. This video, again, is just for life purposes only and for entertainment purposes only. So to keep that in mind as well, if you want to be notified when I do post and upload, you can go into the comment section below or in the description and follow my Blue Sky account and my Facebook group, and I will personally notify you when I do upload. Now we do have a lot of things going on here, but first, but foremost, today is Tuesday, April 8th. At 11:53 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I do want to do a little bit of a community spotlight. So for those of you guys who have been actively engaging within the content within the past week, you will be shown to me via AI or artificial intelligence on YouTube. And it tells me for those of you guys who have been actively engaging with the past week. So thank you. So 62 SAI. We have here Marty Loopold. We have here Tracy Wilson, Emma Herbert, and Nancy Dixon. So thank you all for those of you guys who have been actively engaging with the content. Just so you know, the more you engage in some formality, whether you're liking, commenting, subscribing, it will get you on a community spotlight. Now, a lot of you guys have emailed me and commented. I am getting back to you as soon as possible. Just hang tight. I still need some more time. Alright, so anyway, let's begin. I'm not going to waste your time. The way this is going to go is I'm going to read to you my book. First, my psychic channeling book. And then I'm going to read you the entire article, and then I'm going to do an entire portion. That is how we're going to do this specific video. So let's go ahead, let's take a look, let's find out what's going on, and let's go from there. Now you all know and familiarize yourself with this book. It's my owl book, and it is, I was told to call this specific book, All Knowing, All Seeing, Thy Truth, Thy Future. I gotta say the accuracy on this book is it's astronomically on the nose here, even it scares me sometimes. Anyway, we'll talk about the de-extinction at another date. Now, let's talk about Harris in particular. Let's see, what does it say here for Harris? Okay, so this was channeled on December 31st, 2024 at 2:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as of when I'm recording now. And on the bottom it says here, world's leaders will be submission to all that can and will be. If Harris is meant to be the leader, she will be the leader, and same thing for 45. So remember, all world's leaders are submission to all that can and will be in the universe. Whatever is divinely supposed to be, they will do it. Now it says also here, kings will fall, not one but by the many. So a lot of male leaders are going to fall. We saw that with the most recent one being Justin Trudeau in Canada, right? We have here, going towards the end of the challenge here, we have a whole bunch of information that is really important. We have here, Trump shall be the trumpet that blows the whistle of the new age, for that I have created him in this time to usher in the new age of darkness and of light. Harris shall seek a new path towards the presidency, for that she shall become. Biden will be known for his tranquility, stability, and peace in a time of upheaval. The Carters representing an old way of doing things, being good to humanity and expecting nothing in return. Rest assured, he has a very important role to play in the evolution of the United States and the world. Hillary's important role is to show the struggle of women in the new age of Aquarius. Not all will be easy. We never said it would be. Okay, that is that channel in here. Let's see, is there anything here? Oh, yep. So here's the next one, which came a couple days later, which was January the 9th, 2025, channeled at 2:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It says here, Harris will go on to win the 2020 election if she chooses to seek it. For that, the presidency is already hers. Republicans will be full of hate. Republicans will be full of the hate that consumes them. So the hate will consume the Republican Party. Trump will do something that will blow away the left, then the right. So he will blow away his supporters. Inauguration Day will be a day of reckoning for the many. Many will go as many will stay. There was no fraud in this election, with the mere exception of manipulation in whatever form they decided to do it in. We also have found, according to the tarot cards in my second channel and intuition, we have found that they have actually manipulated the coding system in the voting machine. So that is how they did it. Congress will decertify the results in due time, but not when he is still alive. For that he will be stripped of his number and title and considered illegitimate. 3 impeachments will befell the next president, but that he had already committed 2 major crimes outside the scope of being in office. He sold them out and gave documents away. Fraud would be found on the phone of a nearby foreign adversary. Harris may take her rightful place, but not before she finds and meets a young male. Tim Waltz is not likely to become vice president, as I have other plans for him. Now that I'm thinking about the way that sounds, it says here, Harris may take her rightful place, but not before she finds or meets a young male. Tim Waltz is not likely to become vice president, as they have other plans for him. What does that mean? What could that foretell? It could foretell that possibly in the 2020 election, you're already seeing information that's being put out there that you're going to have Pete Buttigieg with Harris' ticket. It could be something simple as that, right? A young male with Harris would be the winning ticket, the winning strategy. It could be maybe she has a young male running her campaign. It could be something like that. Whatever this is, there has to be a young male type energy. Now we have here. Okay, this one's a little heavy, so keep that in mind. There's a little warning here. A major political figure, a woman, will die, one of which saved democracy when called to do so. May she be remembered as a hero. Many women will lose their rights so that they themselves will be prepared and ready to usher in the first woman president. Gays will suffer at the helm of Orange. I made this so that he himself could seek the highest office. So what does that mean? It essentially means gays will suffer at the helm of Orange. I made this so that he himself could seek the highest office. This means that 45 used anti-LGBTQ rhetoric in order to clinch the presidency. However, it also means as well, simultaneously, if you read between the lines, it's also talking about how gays will stop at the helm of Orange. I made this so that he himself could seek the highest office. It's also talking about the future of being a gay man running for the U.S. presidency and women. Many Latinos will be deported, and the age of Reconstruction will begin. Trust that all is in divine order, and that I have created this so that the desired outcome could be met and reached. Those were the sole contracts and must be fulfilled. Many good will come of this decade, but be overshadowed by the evil that consumes the media. Trumpet can only be blown once. but that Trump had already used it up in 2016. End of channeling at 3:16 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that is the channel. You can pause it if you want to read it. You can see that this is legit here. This was recorded on January 9th. Let's go ahead. This is the shooting star prophecy. Let's go ahead. Does it have anything with Harris in it? Which I believe it does not. No. That one's fascism. This is a great beginning. This is not one I have read to you guys yet. This was on March 11th. I have not read to this one to you guys yet. But anyway, besides the point, that's the information there. Let's now go ahead and let's take a look and read information in regards to the actual article itself. So let's see and find out what exactly is being said in the article. I'm going to put the link in the description below if you guys want to read on your own time as well. I think a lot of you guys are actually going to be really interested in it. It's been posted by Black Enterprise by Daniel Johnson on April 7th. 2025, and it says here the question, should we do a recount? Harris allegedly questioned the 2024 election results, new book claims. Let's read the article. I think it's going to be really interesting. According to the book, right inside the wireless battle for the White House, Harris was completely shocked at her loss. A new book from NBC News political reporter Jonathan Allen and Amy Parnaz, a senior political correspondent for The Hill, entitled Fight Inside the Wireless Battle for the White House, tells the story of the 2024 election and describes the Democratic Party rife with its shares of disagreement and disarrays. According to the Guardian reviews of the book, the pair's sourcing is solid. They're writing about the campaign's lead up to is sober, and the message is also unmistakably clear. Biden re-election campaign and his selection of Harris were viewed as a mistake. What the heck? Every time this website is glitching for some reason, so my apologies. As a mistake. The book also claims that former President Barack Obama never held much faith in either Harris or Biden for different reasons. The 44th president never had much faith in the political ability of his former vice president. Parnaz and Allen write in the book, quote, less than 2 weeks earlier at a Los Angeles fundraiser, Obama led Biden off stage by the wrist after the president stood frozen for a few moments while staring into the crowd. They continued, Obama had already determined that he didn't think Harris should take the president's spot on the ballot. That was his position from the onset, according to the one person who spoke to him at the time. In an interview on April 3rd episode of the Ringer podcast, Somebody Gotta Win with Tara Primetti, Parnaz told the host that Harris and her running mate Tim Walz were shocked that they lost the election to Donald Trump. She was completely shocked, and Harris, this website is sucks. But I'm going to read it to you guys, so it's important that I read that, and my apologies. Okay, Somebody Gotta Win with Harris Primetti. Parnaz told the host that Harris and her running mate Tim Walz were shocked that they lost the election to Donald Trump. She was completely shocked, and Harris' running mate Tim Walz was shocked. Parnaz also said that he had no words, and people are kind of explaining things to him, same things with her. And she's like, are you sure? Have we done a recount? Should we do a recount? And she continued, they thought that they were going to win, and so when they come back now and say, oh no, we didn't really have a chance, no, that's not what they were thinking. They thought they were going to win. Harris and Tim Walz thought they were going to win. According to Allen, Obama had doubts that Harris could defeat Trump. Obama had doubts that Obama had doubts that Harris could defeat Trump, and as he told MSNBC, his efforts to create a mini primary or an open convention ended up working against her. He didn't think that she was the best choice for Democrats, and he was really behind the scenes for a long time to try and have a mini primary, or an open primary, if you will. Convention or a mini primary leading to her to an open convention did not have faith in her ability to win the election. Parnaz co-author Jonathan Allen told MSNBC on April 1st. As it turned out, she didn't win, but he was really working against her. So Obama was working against Harris and her ability to win the election. Parnes, meanwhile, told The Ringer that Harris allegedly brought, quote, the hype concerning her chances of winning the election. Harris was looking at her crowd size, and he felt like the vibe was strong, and people were saying, quote, oh, we have more boots on the ground, we're doing better in fundraising. Parnes said on the podcast, and she thought all of that. She brought the hype, and so did a lot of people in her campaign. In a conversation with Vanity Fair, the author stopped short of calling an attempt to hide the aspect of Biden's deficit a cover-up. They did, however, describe the Democrats here. I just feel like every time I go on this website is like crashing, and I wonder if like it's because we're not supposed to be reading this. So we're almost done, I promise. Okay, they did, however, describe Democratic leadership that, in their estimation, failed to meet the urgency of the moment. While we saw a lot of bad decision making, and perhaps at the very top, people were putting their own interest and what they believed was Joe Biden's interest above the interest of the Democratic Party and the country. And so that failure, that's a moral one, but maybe not a criminal one, which is what the term a cover-up sort of implied, a criminal conspiracy, and we didn't reach that threshold. So I don't know what they were talking about the criminal conspiracy, but they were essentially saying that there were attempts by other politicians to try and issue a primary within the Democratic Party to try and get an actual primary to get people to go out and vote and select who they want because Biden was not fit to run for another term for office. And so really, really interesting information. I hope that you guys enjoyed that. Now let's go ahead, let's take a look, let's see what the title cards say. Let's go from there. So Spirits Angels tell me about who convinced Vice President Harris to not do a recount? Who convinced Vice President Harris not to do a recount? Who convinced Vice President Harris not to do a recount? Who convinced? I'm hearing they knew something. This person, whoever convinced her, knew something. They were aware of something. They knew the outcome wasn't going to be victorious. They knew that. This person, whoever this is, knew the outcome wasn't going to be a victorious one or a favorable one for her. The card challenge in the reading, though, we have heading in the future, we have government, the Hierophant, the ability to lead in the future, the ability to lead, and knowing that they could usher in the next term of Donald Trump, the Knight of Wands. What's it coming in here as well? Running in the future. What's in this tense here is talking about the prior to the 2024 election. This is the energy. Who convinced Harris not to get a recount? In this aspect here, this is talking about what happened. This is the point before the election, right? This is the government and Trump running towards the government, running to become the next leader. Here in the outcome, though, we have the final outcome here, which means victorious loss, victory loss, not be able to win, not be able to get over the finish line. This is represented at the 6 of Wands. However, we have here the Page of Wands here, which means new leader. It's reversed because there is no new leader. There was a lack of leadership. This was the same old again. And underneath, right next to the Page of Wands reverse, we also have represented by the Nine of Swords. We have here an upset, a shock, a betrayal, not feeling okay, coming in with a certain expectation and not getting the desired outcome that you want. However, there is this indication here that tells me that they see this long term, whoever this person is that knew the outcome and convinced Harris not to do a recount, saw that as a benefit in the future because they felt like, oh, if you don't contest the result and you were to run again, you could very well win because people are going to rebel against the current administration, ushering the first woman president. Right? That is their idea. That's the whole concept here. On the right side, though, I'm hearing Latino. The Latino is going to go first. Like they think that a Latino female will do better than an Asian woman, or Asian black woman to do it. They feel like very strongly that it's going to be a Latino woman who can pull this off. Here we have the King of Swords here. They actually came up with this idea Ironically enough, they came in thinking that people didn't want the same old, and they will reject the current status quo because they reject Biden. They assume that would also apply to 45. But they came in having a very well slept night, and here comes the king of swords, which is the incumbent party, the president party, which is the Democratic Party at the time of the election. And by the time the election rolled around, we have the Six of Swords reversed, which means they ended up losing. They lost the White House. They lost control of government. That is what they're saying. This is the lead up to here. This is leading up to the story. So we're happy with the Hierophant and 45 running up to the presidency, running up to the government, and that this individual who was convincing Harris not to do the recount was aware that 45 was going to clinch the nomination or clinch the White House in some way. And here you have the Page of Wands reversed, which says new leader, assuming and having false pretenses that people don't want to go back to the way things were prior. Instead, they want to go to the way things were future. She didn't understand, in hindsight, that also applied to her because she was in former government. Had she not been in office, she might have been able to convince voters to say, hey, listen, I'm not part of this administration, I'm offering something new. But because she was a part of the current administration at the time when the election was taking place, she was being punished for it. Followed by the Nine of Swords, which means expecting an outcome that you would deem to be more favorable than the actual outcome itself. And here you have is the King of Swords, which is represented by the Democratic Party, your inability to critique the current president, critique the current administration, which ended up leading you to your failure. So what is this talking about here? It's talking about how the individual believes, whoever convinced Harris to not do the recount, this is their reasoning, this is their belief on how and why she lost the 2024 election. Now, what's the bottom of the card here? We have the Eight of Pentacles reversed, and Eight of Pentacles reversed means working on something, working on a recount, like contesting the results, contesting the vote tally. It's reversed because she didn't do it. Somebody convinced her otherwise not to do it. And here you have in the Six of Cups reversed, we have here the future administration. This is something in the future, the administration that takes after 45 term, which is sometime in the future. And you have here wishful thinking. This is a young male energy. Sometime in the future, they will look upon this and they will find, and sometime in the future, they will find this fish in the cup. They will find that something was fishy with the election, but they won't know it until the next administration takes office. So again, when will we know really what happened in the 2024 election? Won't take place in this administration, but will take place sometime around the next administration. And here you have the Page of Pentacles. An opportunity has arisen again. An opportunity, a golden star, a shining star, a new light that has been shown. So what does this mean? What does this foretell? This is the current energy. This is what the person believed. This is what they convinced her and why she lost, right? However, it's saying here as well that despite all these reasonings, sometime in the future, there is something here that was fishy, that invalidates all of this information I just spoke. And here you have the Page of Pentacles, a new revival. Something revives her ability to run sometime in the future. And here you have the Queen of Cups. Eventually, when she does this, she will be older than she is now. It's not a surprise. That doesn't take a psychic to know that. But she will be older. And here you have the Queen of Cups. She will be able to contain, and she will be able to rule. And this she'll be able to contain and watch democracy at a very close eye. But she would not make that mistake again because the strength of 45 and his ability to win the government was very strong. Despite the fishiness of all this, she will become the leader in the future, just not when Biden was president. That is her outcome. We always talk about that, and the information comes here again. Now, I want to really know, can we actually get a definitive answer on why Harris was convinced not to even contest the results? 45 contested, the similar margin, a larger margin in the popular vote, and the state tally, but yet he was able to do it. Why did the Democrats not do it? Who convinced Harris not to contest the result? That's what I want to know, because Tim Walz did not believe that. He and Harris were shocked that they lost the election. They did. They were shocked. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at who did it. Who convinced Harris and the Democratic Party not to go ahead? Bills and Angel, tell me who convinced Harris not to open up recounts or call for recounts in states during the 2024 election. Who convinced her not to do it? So this is someone who's hidden. This is not someone who's spoken to public. This is somebody who's behind the scenes. We have the 10 of Wands, which here means not doing the right thing. You have the stairs here and somebody in a wheelchair. You obviously know they can't get up the stairwell because it's not made for them. However, this is reversed, which means the ramp is being built. There's some sort of adjustment here. On the top of the deck here, we have the election, which is representing the Sagittarius, which is the November election, right? To Sagittarius, which is the November election, which is further followed by the card that falls underneath it, which is the Wheel of Fortune. We have here the Democrats on top, the Republicans on bottom. This is the Wheel of Fortune. The wheels move forward. But right now it's not moving forward because we're asking the question, who stopped the results from being counted? Who's prevented Harris from pushing ahead and doing a recount? Well, we have here, the first thing we have is, these are not progressive who did it, but rather it was more so a specific type of progressive who pushed forth this idea not to contest the results. But also, at the same exact time, this was somebody who was also conservative. So it feels like there was a mixture of different groups from different subgroups that were trying to convince her not to contest the results because of their own political ambition. There was some sort of political ambition that they were targeting Harris to prevent her from seeking the presidency in the future because they themselves wanted to become president. And you cannot become president if somebody else is in the office. So they are seeking this for a more political gain rather than doing what's best for the nation. Now we have here the first card that comes in is the King of Cups. Now this is the media, right? It's reversed. This is somebody who's behind the scenes, not someone who's out and open and talking about like what their beliefs are, what the ideas are, what they believe is going to happen, whether or not they think that it's a good idea. This is somebody who's behind the scenes. It's not somebody who speaks publicly. So this has to be like a campaign advisor or someone who's very close to her or she thought was close to her, but really is a backstabber. We also have here water, right? Threatening and telling her like, hey, listen, if you decide to do this, you're throwing oil and water and they don't mix and you're going to cause a massive uproar. You're going to be causing issues and distrust with the electoral process, and you yourself will be to blame for that. You were no better than 45. And so there's this threat here inside her head that's being told that, oh, if you pursue this route, you yourself will be subjected to the same criticism as 45 was, basically making you illegitimate or invalidate any claim that you have. What also is to note as well is that I spoke many times before during 2020 that 45 was going to do that, and it was going to be a perfect plan because in order to create and be able to get away with any sort of rigging in any elections, you have to be able to cry that things were rigged and rigged and rigged. You only have the media and the news outlet come out and say, oh, the election was not rigged. And then everybody still believes internally that it was rigged. And by doing so, that when the next election comes around and the opposite party that it was rigged, blah, blah, they are essentially saying, oh, the election prior was rigged because, if this one could be rigged, this other one before it could be rigged. And it just creates a very toxic dynamic. And that's exactly what you want, is to silence your critic by not making it so atrocious that they don't want to become like you, that they'll do anything and everything in their power to make sure that they don't end up like you. And in this aspect, someone was making sure that she remains silent. The next card that comes up is the Eight of Coins here, which is in the center here. You see the woman in the center, right? The woman in the center. You have here the backstabbing of the American painting. You have the man taking the highest oath of office, and you have the Taurus all the way on the left side here, right? Taurus. Right, so this is the energy here. This was the energy. That's why it's represented at the Eight of Coins, because it wouldn't have been a betrayal because it would have been true. But it would have further invalidated. It further would have validated 45 claim that, if the 2024 election was rigged, then the 2020 election was rigged as well. And so it creates that very constitutional crisis really that nobody really wants, and it causes more headache than not. And so it's that idea that somebody convincing her that this is not the route to go. So there was somebody in her head who was telling her this is not it. Now, what I'm reading to you, I'm reading you the reasons and the messages that I'm getting who this person specifically spoke to her. Again, everything in the video is alleged only and for entertainment purposes only, but who was speaking to her saying, don't do this, this is not ideal, blah, blah, blah. This is the information that I'm getting for that. Now, we also have here is represented here at the employment services. You know, if you want to be able to keep your job in the long term, you want to be able to run or do whatever, the best thing you can do is not make yourself look like an election denier. And here you have employment services represented by the two coins. It should not even contest it, just leave it go and just save your career. So this is also them trying to tell her like, oh, if you decide to pursue this route, you essentially eradicate your career long term. And the last outcome card here, which is represented as the three coins, the three coins is reversed, and you have this man who was giving money to the military in exchange. So there was a tip here. We see the woman walking in the background. And that's reversed because it feels very much like she in some way was betrayed and there was internal spies within her camp that was giving information in a pay for monetary stuff. So what happened within the U.S. Democratic Party? There were spies within who was feeding her direct information to try and get her to convince herself that she herself would be a detriment to the United States if she were to pursue a route of recount. So that's the information I'm getting. Let's go ahead and let's take a look. Let's ask the cards here, specifically the index card, to see if we can get any final information. Consider this video to be a part 1. Tomorrow we'll do a part 2. I'm really curious. I kind of want to delve into this, but I want to see what you guys are thinking, what your thoughts are, and let's go from there, really. But anyway, let's go ahead. Let's take a look. If you guys want to know, the pink means color, that means major arcana. Anything white means minor arcana. So Spirit Angels, tell me about Harris and her. Why does she not want to pursue a recount? Or who convinced her not to do a recount, despite the fact that she herself was questioning the result of the 2024 election? Okay. I'm seeing pink. Okay, I'm getting that color. Okay, so I'm getting the white as well. Okay. I'm getting blue. I'm also getting that dark color blue, so we can get that dark color blue. Let's see. Oops, got it. This the one? Okay, I'm also hearing yellow for the final touches. Okay, so they're telling me to take the yellow card in front of this yellow. Okay. Alright, so let's go ahead, let's find out what was going on here and why did she not do it. First card that comes up, we have must. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense here. There was somebody here who was convincing her and who was actually involved in some sort of behavior to ensure that she would not win. Must was actually involved in this creation and how to do it. The next card is lies. Okay, so must lie. So maybe in some point in time, maybe Musk was quitting her and quitting 45, but he already knew who he wanted, but he may have been open to the idea and a plausibility and possibility that if she was to become president, whether or not he himself would be immune from prosecution. Once she said no, he turned on her. That's what this is, must lie. And he made sure that this also played a big role. Again, everything in this video is just for life purposes only. The next card that comes in is we have the climate. Like learning about the condition of the political climate, right? The political nation, right? The nation is very fast at this point. We have here lies and sadness, right? This is when she was supposed to be elected, when she was supposed to be inaugurated. Here you have depression, the economy, right? The climate of depression. And a lot of people feel very depressed, very sad, very upset about what happened, but also talked about a Great Depression or an economic depression as well. And here you have unemployment services, which is going to be coming soon. You know, this is the inauguration day. This is the employment. This is the economy here, baby, the economy. Her idea, the thing that she said, is going to come back to bite 45, and it's going to really lift her up while lifting him down. Now here you have the three coin, we have here fake. Fake is sideways, which means that the information that was stated here was true. There was some sort of truth to this about what was being said. And anything else that you'd like to add? So just tell me take this card, which is the pink card, and that's it. I can actually. We have here love. So eventually just love the outcome for what it is. Love yourself. Love. I feel like she is finding who she is. Who is Harris? Because the Harris that would have been the president would have been a very different Harris that the country needs at this point in time. And Harris needs to find herself so that herself can become the best version of herself. Because if she was able to be influenced not to do a recount, then she's not ready for the presidency. And that she needs a little bit more time before she can become president. No one should tell someone what they should and shouldn't do because of information. And so you have to do your best at it. If she truly felt that there was something wrong about the election, someone would convince her not to do it, that should be a telltale sign that maybe they aren't the right person around you. So that's it. That's really all I have for you guys. We're going to ask about Obama in the next video. I really want to ask, did Obama have anything to do with this? Alright guys, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. I'll see you all in the next video. Until then, peace out. I love you. Thank you for watching.